Good morning, this is totally random.
Featuring Franz Maruna and Andrew Embler.
Hello, I'm Franz, this is Andy.
Hello.
It's Totally Random, your periodic news and chit-chat show about Concrete5. So let's jump right in with the news. A couple of little bits. The Pact Publishing theme book by Remo came out. I think we've got a link to that. Oh, we got something there. Creating themes. Yeah, there you go. Great new book from Pact on Concrete5. Is that a glass of water? Bubbles? Something. The Bubble Book. It's linked to on our docs page, on our developer docs, I believe. So you should get that. Nice, and that'd be good for you. Also, I was supposed to mention training. We're doing lots of it. Matt's eagerly doing training courses, and they're filled with information. They're very affordable and a great way to learn things if you don't like reading books.
Nice.
Big news this week, obviously, the 561 was released. Yay! Celebration.
Celebrate. Then go back to it immediately.
Yeah, so all sorts of stuff there. I don't know if you want to talk about it now or want to need to wait until after Karma and some Git.
Sure.
Talk about it then.
Yeah.
Come back around. So let's just put that aside. Yeah. And let's do the Karma stuff.
And the weekly Karma winners, come on down.
Alright, so we assign Karma points to people automatically and by hand when various things happen in the community, from answering posts to working on the code to just, was even a referral. I don't know if you found it. If you dig around in the What is Karma section, you'll find a referral link you can use to promote the project. And then every week we award licenses to the top Karma person in one of those three categories, helping people, promoting the project, and working on things. So there's your context. Matt, who are our lucky winners this week?
This week we've got GoatNet winning a copy of the Style Quickie add-on for helping. We got Wacky winning a copy of the Snowflakes add-on.
Boom.
For promoting Concrete5. And then we got John the Fish winning a copy of Mosaic Gallery for working.
Excellent.
Nice.
It's awesome. Nice to see all that help, and it's fantastic to see add-ons that we didn't make in there too. If you're an add-on developer, you want to get your work in front of more people or themes, let Julia know. We'll add some licenses to the Karma machine, and then you two can give stuff away and be awesome. Are we getting any pictures this week?
No sticker pictures.
No sticker pics. Come on,
Guys, what are you doing? If you would like stickers so you could take pictures of them on things and send them to me, then we would talk about you right now, and that'd be better for me than this. You go to our swag page, Matt's showing you there, on the marketplace drop down. At the bottom you will see a form field in which you will put your mailing address. When I say mailing address, I mean the address your mama uses, not the address that I use to email you. The Concrete5 person at 12345 Fake Street is an actual number. There's a street. There's probably some type of city, state, province, prefecture, something. A zip code maybe, country, things like that. I could physically send you something in the postal mail. A dude comes to your house, or maybe a lady. I'm not trying to be judgmental. Maybe you have a postal lady. They come, they bring you stickers in the mail that they're already sticky. You don't have to print them and do something fancy. You just put them on things, and then you take pictures and you send them in. And then when you put your pictures up on the internet, so you're on TV, you can tell your kids about it. Sweet. That is Karma. Thank you very much. What do we do now?
I don't know.
Do we do the PRB?
Let's PRB
it without Greg?
Introducing Great Choice by Greg Joyce.
Alright, that's good.
Oh, Greg's sleeping in a pile of trash. No, Greg's in Japan with his lovely wife, being wifey and Japanly. And I don't know, they're doing what they need to do there. That's good for them. We're going to just keep it going here.
We are. We're going to keep on keeping on.
Keep on keeping on. What are we doing, Matt?
Okay, so I approved some stuff this week in Greg's absence. The first thing we got here is the Snow Leopard theme by Bensky.
All right.
And we'll take a look at some screenshots here. I'm going to do this the old school way.
Old school.
Yeah. We're gonna learn it together.
Hey, look at those screenshots.
Oh, it's nice.
Yeah.
Elegant. Subdued.
Yeah. Let's get some. Oh, that's cool. I like
It's
that.
got some cool circular templates for the image. Like some island size.
Looks like it's responsive.
Sure.
It's nice.
Yeah. It's great.
Cool. The next one, we have a template. This is a template John the Fish wrote for the list files from set add-on. So this is a different add-on, and this is a template for it. So this is a custom template. And it allows you to grab the files from your set and actually make thumbnails from them.
Sweet.
Nice.
Love those dogs.
It's got a couple different views. Works pretty well.
Very cool.
Next one is called Euro Rates, and this basically just loads up a bunch of different exchange rates for different countries' currencies. It does it with some flash. You can choose different countries and have them show up in a little graph that shows the U.S. dollar doing whatever it does.
That's not very inspiring.
The craterous portion of the curve.
That's us. Cool. So this shows the rates. This doesn't automatically do any magic with the e-commerce add-on.
No, it just displays the rates on your page.
Good.
Yeah, no,
There's a
adjust
liability you probably don't want to
adjust
take
your
on.
prices in real time.
Stranger things have happened. What else you got?
We got a theme called Haywater,
Nice.
and this one is all responsive and mobily. You can see it runs on a number of devices and looks good on all of them.
Sweet.
A bunch of different page types and whatnot.
Rather bootstrappery.
Yeah, it uses the Bootstrap CSS.
Great way to go.
And next we have one from John the Fish, and this is quite extensive. This is called Magic Data. And this is getting pretty intense. This is an expert level add-on. It allows you to replace dynamically pieces of your content, pieces of your blocks with other stuff that you have set up in the dashboard. So this is very, 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 very complicated.
Complicated mail merge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, that's a cool idea. We've got bits of that coming together for 5.7 as well.
You have different rules you can apply to different pages and different blocks and areas inside those pages, and you can do some testing inside the dashboard.
It is powerful.
Is that an evacuate button? Oh, evaluate.
Abort!
Wow.
Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff in here, and it looks like a lot of work went into this, and
Yeah,
it looks pretty
great.
good.
We got some good docs on there, man.
Yeah, there's some good docs.
Excellent.
Indeed.
Would be necessary.
And yeah, let's take a look at some docs on here.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
got
Words and stuff.
Quite a lot of stuff.
Lists, screenshots. Great.
Oh, that's very good.
Love it.
Yeah,
that's a
so
long page.
if you're looking to use this, you probably want to read this stuff.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, yeah, good.
Yeah.
The last one here we have is Magic Data Symbols #1, and this is an add-on for the Magic Data add-on. So this allows you to use different symbols, which is a part of that add-on.
Is it supposed to be Magic Symbols 1, or did we just append a 1 for some reason to our...
I think it's supposed to be #1 of maybe a series. Of
Oh, I see.
Perhaps.
We just don't show the number sign. Huh. Cool.
Or he just typed it weird.
Space. Whatever. Yeah. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Thank you. Awesome. Well, looking forward to Greg coming back. Good job, Matt.
Well done.
Well done. Alright, we're gonna do the...
We got some stuff in Git.
We got the Git. We can talk about 561. We
Yeah.
can do a little We're gonna get to a spot, and how would we do it? We're gonna ask if anyone has any questions. If you don't have any questions, we're just gonna go back to work. So you want to think about questions now?
Nobody wants that. So.
No, you don't want that. You want to keep us here, wasting time. So think of your questions now while we jabber on about Git, and then, you know, when we're ready for you, you'll be ready for us. We'll make it happen together. Let's do Get and Git.
Yep.
What did we get in Git? What?
Coming back around. Woo!
Looping it up.
All right. So,
Yeah.
yeah, we'll get these pull requests
Yeah.
and the Git logos, like a Octocat?
Yeah, we got a whole bunch of
square?
things. So there's going to be a lot of people who won't have their stuff looked at, or won't have their stuff talked about. But I just wanted to mention thanks to everyone who's been putting pull requests in. We went from around 110, I think, maybe a week and a half ago, to there were under 20 at the end of day yesterday. So, and a fair number of those are sort of in progress for 5.7 by their own admission. All that stuff will get evaluated eventually. It just needs a lot of things are waiting on further back and forth. But more people to look at them, the better. Comments on them are always appreciated, especially if they're more complicated. But yeah, so we're going to highlight 3 of those that we got in this latest push for 5.6.1. This one was kind of cool. It's from M. Locati. This one was nice because you can't really tell from the history on this one because it was new, but this one is actually kind of like the combination of several pull requests and a lot of back and forth by he and I. And so that's always nice when that happens.
Collaboration!
Yep, I looked at his, I was like, well, this looks good, but it looks a little complicated. Is there any way we can put this together? And then we went back and forth on it, closed the old one, put in some new ones, and looks a lot better. And this adds a couple of events to grabbing countries and provinces. So if you are running a site where you have that stuff and you want to sort of extend the way we deal with those lists of countries and states, or change how we display them, or add provinces for a particular country that we didn't include,
You can now do that.
you can do that.
So I know that the UK has been frustrated with us for quite some time because their provinces, not provinces, whatever, their sub-states are constantly changing. Our list is out of date because we just use the Zen one. Is that?
No, we don't use the Zen one. Zen doesn't have a province
Oh.
list. We just have our own.
We just have a list.
Yeah.
So will this make that easier?
Well, it'll give you a way to change it. There's no GUI.
yeah. No,
There's
hey,
no GUI.
Fair enough. At least there's a way.
But yeah, and he also added the Italian province list.
Oh,
So,
thank you.
yeah, so there's the UK ones that have, some of which have changes, some of which do not.
Nice.
And yeah, so
Great.
that's very nice.
Thank you.
The next one is also from M. Locati. This one's kind of amusing because he quite appropriately decided to. We have a very nice function in one of our helpers that I didn't even remember existed. I think I did not write it, and we don't necessarily communicate 100% perfectly all the time.
What?
I think I think this was when we first did the IP banning years ago. Another developer did that, and he included this very helpful function which we didn't even really track on existing. And basically there are, as with anything, detecting IP addresses, which IP is coming to a website. There is a very simple server variable for this, but it is sometimes not right, and there are other variables that supersede it when you're behind proxy servers and all kinds of stuff. So he helpfully put that function in, and we didn't really use it anywhere else in the core except in his code. So what M. Locati's pull request does is standardize on using this, much more effective function throughout the rest of our code, and swapping out our code for that.
Sweet.
And it will have a better, more uniform IP detection library throughout this.
Nice.
Yeah, and finally, this pull request came in from Blue Futon. It is a new helper, a new in 5.6.1 security helper, and what this is good for is if you know the format of a string that you're trying to show to a user or deal with in some way, if you know it's supposed to be an int, you know it's supposed to be a string or URL, and you want to make sure that you don't potentially treat it incorrectly, you can run these you can run that data through these sanitization functions first. It's a little different than the validation functions we already have. This is meant for sort of either displaying nothing or displaying the valid data. So an example of where this might be useful is we're frequently passing data between hidden input elements, and a lot of times security researchers will find cross-site scripting bugs because we don't escape that HTML.
Sure.
Deep
in some
yeah,
corner of
yeah,
the dashboard.
of the dashboard.
Already in
yeah,
here,
yeah.
there's some
And if I
input field that I could use to get somewhere else.
Yeah, and it'll embed JavaScript in the dashboard during that one request, and that's not great. And so he added these functions, and then also a helper for making it much easier to call, or a quick utility function for making it much easier to escape that HTML.
Nice.
And we'll continue to document that stuff and use these utility functions throughout. We may not, the underlying implementation of those functions uses a PHP function called filter var, which is a great idea in theory. It has some quirks, so we may swap out the underlying implementation, but the actual functions that we're using here will not change.
Nice.
So yeah, so very good. And this was all through working with this developer who had put concrete5 through a security audit, said it was largely good, found a couple little corners in the dashboard as Franz mentioned, and submitted a pull request.
Way to kind of universally deal with them. Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And that is what we got.
There's just 3 of many, of hundreds
Yeah,
of pull requests.
Yeah.
Do we have that? Is there a page on Git with the graphs that is compelling me to look at? Or you wonder where you look around, see if there's a
Network? Oh, graphs, the
We're gonna
top
see,
right bar. The top, all to the right.
there you go.
Now, yeah, so it's not that compelling, but it's kind of
So we
compelling.
see.
Oh, like a pull request?
Well, just because
Yeah.
some of the other people, because we just talked about
Yeah.
2 people over 3 requests, but there's dozens of people who submitted hundreds, if not thousands, of lines of code.
That one week had a big red bar.
Sweet, big red bar.
What?
No, I was looking for more of like a contributors thing where you'd see like Remo and this and that.
There it is.
There you go. Chippity. Tyler Minkress doing some work there. There's the Emocati stuff. There's Remo.
Yeah.
Rocking with the activity. Jordan, of course. It's just like a rundown of our active community.
Yeah, and these are mostly, this is like in descending order, so like, but over time.
Sure.
So it's
the graph is for
It's
years,
not-
so you're
it's
seeing
not the last
blips
2
at
weeks
the
or
end
whatever.
because it's just not the last 2 weeks.
Yeah,
but
yeah, no, it's cool.
yeah, all these folks. So thank you, everybody.
Yeah, it's great.
We appreciate it. I think we're ready to talk about 561.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So, new version of Concrete.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. A lot faster.
Yeah.
Fixes
a lot of bugs.
What do you want to talk about?
You should upgrade to it. One thing you should do is, for the time being, if you are running 5.5, you will have to upgrade to 5.5.2.1 to get into 5.6. But for the time being, make sure you update to 5.6.02 and then to 5.6.1. That's a requirement that will lift in the future, but I just discovered if you go from 5.5.2.1 to 5.6.1, it won't let you complete that upgrade at the moment. Which is why we haven't released 5.6.1 to the auto updaters of the world.
5.6.1.1.
Yep, that will be happening probably early
Little
next
quickie.
week. Yeah, but no large changes in that one, just fixing these little corners. So that's just something to keep in mind. The version history page for 5.6.1 is very long. It's probably the longest. We've had releases where we've done bigger, more wholesale UI updates or added bigger, end user features. But rewriting the permissions is a pretty big deal. But in terms of actual discrete things that we can say, this is resolved, we did this, it's probably the biggest one. It's probably got the largest bullet points and bug fixes that we've ever done. And there's a lot of stuff in performance that's improved. There's a couple of how-tos that detail how that works and what we threw out from 5.6.02 and why 5.6.02 was kind of slow, and how things are improving in that vein. And I'd be shocked if you didn't have significant performance improvements with 5.6.1, even if you don't use full page caching. But if you do, you'll get even.
You'll love it.
It'll be much faster than previous full page.
Faster,
caching
stronger,
was.
better.
Yeah, and fix some, all sorts of little bugs, layout bugs, just tons of little stuff. It's a lot. It's very polished, I think.
Nice.
I think it was very nice that we had the lead time with the members of the community posting bugs, and we got a chance to go through, the entire 5.6.02 bug tracker, which was had the most bugs reported of any release we've ever
I've
done.
been up there for 8 months or whatever. So.
Yeah.
Great. So now we can really hunker down on 5.7.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, so we'll get a little point release out there relatively soon to clean up all the little stuff that's going to be uncovered in the next week or two, and then it's 5.7.
Onward and upward. So, do we have questions, Mr. Waters?
Yeah, we got a question from M. Locati, and this involves translations in trans effects. It seems old translations are lost. I'm not too familiar with this myself. Would it be better to have different translation sets? One for 602,
Well,
601, and so on?
probably. I couldn't figure out, and you feel free to tell me how to do this, because this is not necessarily my wheelhouse. I could not figure out how to duplicate a translation, like all translations, into a new set. So right now we have one area of trans effects that has our completely up-to-date translation files. And what I did was I built the new translation files for 561, and I uploaded them into TransFX. And what it does very well is it takes all those 100% translations, and now they're at 97% because there's like 80 new strings or whatever, and it keeps that all together. So everyone can see, oh, I've got 80 strings to do for 561. I go in there, and downloading it should work just fine, and it shouldn't ever lose any old strings, even if we don't use them anymore. It keeps them around in the old files. What I couldn't figure out how to do is if you create a new section for 561 and you upload those strings, like, aren't they all empty? And then I couldn't figure out how to copy if we had a 5602 translation set, and we had 561, which is completely new, created. I upload the thing to 561. How does one migrate the strings into the new thing while keeping it?
Well, what you did was you just...
Yeah, I just replaced it. We just have one thing that's concrete5 core, and that's always the latest version. And in the way that these translation files work, they will all work for.
Better to have more than less.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
So shoot me an email if
yeah.
this makes sense to you, and if you understand more about how they're meant to be structured. I looked at different projects, and they all seem to. I couldn't really find a way to do what I think you want to do, and what I would prefer to do. Honestly, it'd be nice to have them broken out more granularly. But I couldn't figure out
having to rekey them all. Though.
Yeah, no, certainly, and that's not feasible. So yeah.
All right.
So that's the top. So there's that.
What else you got?
Got a question from Tao S. He mentions the sanitize function doesn't seem to work in Japanese. Does that seem like it relates to the stuff we were talking about with the recent pull requests?
You'd have to be more specific in terms of what you're trying to do. We have a function in the core that's called sanitize that really does a couple different things and is a little... It's hard to explain exactly what it does. It strips tags, but it also can optionally cut stuff into smaller chunks of characters, and we use it in different spots, and honestly we probably ought to keep it around, for backward compatibility, but then isolate what we use it for and then use more specialized functions, because sanitize to me clearly meant something much different 7 years ago than it does now, because this function performs a number of different things.
Swiss Army knife-ish?
Yeah, it's an odd one. It's more about like creating URLs that also happens to strip tags. It's kind of strange. Yeah, so there's
any number of reasons why
yeah.
you may not be doing what you want in Japanese, depending on what you're asking it to do.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, I got a question from J Steel 123. He asks, he's trying to do a manual upgrade from beta 4, I think, if I'm parsing that version number correctly.
4.
I did this on my own site without an incident, so I'm not totally sure what.
So he's got a block type error when he tries to upgrade, and it's telling him that no db.xml can be found for a certain block type. So he's not sure which block type that is.
I don't know. It's hard to tell off the top of my head.
Sounds like there's no db.xml file for a block type.
Yeah, I don't know why. It's possible that I would try momentarily just to get this thing to complete. I don't know why you wouldn't have seen this already, to be honest with you, throughout the beta process, because between B4 and 561 proper, I don't believe we added any new block type refreshing that's in there. It's possible that something else has changed, or there's a new override in the blocks directory, or something along those lines.
Start looking at your blocks.
Yeah. I don't know.
I've got a question from Bart Hewis. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. He says he makes a lot of C5 sites at his work, and they want to do a standard installation using starting points. And he wants to figure out a way to get permissions to be included in that starting point, such that you can lock users out of the dashboard, or certain parts of the dashboard. Hasn't been able to figure that out yet. Do you have any advice?
We don't really support permissions in the XML starting point stuff yet, except for a few pretty specific spots, but not really on pages or anything. You could write custom code in your starting point controller when it actually does the installations. At the end, these starting points are all just sort of lists of steps that they run through and then just functions. So if you copy the controller for a particular starting point, and then just add another one, which is setting custom permissions, and then in that function use PHP to actually do it. That's probably the best way. We have a weird method for doing it, these access.xml files that sort of might at first glance look like they would do what you want, and they could very well, but they're not as well supported. I would find some snippets of permission setting code, which there should be some for the new 5.6 permissions, and then just run that through PHP in the custom starting point.
Yeah.
Cool. We got a question from Convolute1. Maybe just Convolute, I think I recognize that username. About the new comments and discussion setup, is there any recommended reading to learn more about it? Also, pondering import and export with live fire and discus, etc.
No, beyond whatever is in your thoughts of the roadmap or the discussion, but I haven't written that.
No, there is nothing in that yet.
But the next week should be writing up stuff for how we're going to build that.
Yeah, the context here is, as we've mentioned in a blog post that you can find if you dig way deep, with 5.7, we will be including a beefier version of getting rid of the guest book block, getting rid of our discussions add-on, and just bringing comments into the core as part of all sorts of pretty dramatic stuff that we're thinking. There you go. That being said, that is one component of 5.7 that is very much still in bullet form. We did recently have a conversation internally about whether we should even be doing this or whether we should just use Discuss and live fire and whatnot. And I don't know, well, there's actually some pretty, what are the right words? Well, there's some earnest desire to find an external solution for perhaps e-commerce. Integrating with third-party tools makes a lot of sense there. We think probably less so for comments in the core.
Yeah.
Comments are content, and we are a content management system. So one might make the argument, look, a website is not an online store. People are pretty comfortable having a store and a website together, and why wouldn't you just go ahead and use, whatever, Shopify, BigCommerce, any one of these hosted solutions that just magically works over time. That might be nice for e-commerce. We thought, boy, that sounds pretty interesting. We're still exploring whether we're going to do that or not. I don't know. And so we started exploring the same idea with comments of, hey, gee, do we really need to reinvent the wheel here? But I'm afraid that we do. It's just there's too much deep integration of stuff, and of course, if you ever really want to use them behind a secure layer, you've got such a robust permission system built into concrete5 that it would be a shame to, like, well, your comments are owned by someone else and free. So you can integrate. You've got Discuss on your blog.
Yeah, I do, and I like it, and it is doable, and we'll probably, in some capacity, we have the. Yeah, I mean, there are going to be some hooks into the system in order to actually, perhaps feature comments or report the number of comments in certain spots, and we might try and build in hooks that could work with these other systems if you chose to use those.
Sure.
But in terms of doing it all through them, I mean, we have we do so much with users and stuff like that, and those
Yeah,
things are great, but and they're meant to be, you know, bolted on, but they don't. They manage that for you, and we're going to we do a lot of our own.
We're going to do that.
Yeah.
So, but that is to be done, and I don't think that we would be importing Discuss comments into it. I think that we would, if that's a system that you want to use, we would build some tools to let you attach it.
It's
and
an interesting
whatever you
idea.
want, and there you go.
Yeah. Certainly, I don't think we'd be exporting comments to.
No.
I mean, it's open source, so feel free, but I don't think that's part of the strategy.
No.
But an import, you know, somewhere down the line, I can see.
Sure.
I can see that. Yep.
Definitely. Why not?
A question from here NT. He asks, would it be a good idea to implement the translate to and translate from functions from the content block to the text area attribute? He's been thinking about doing that and submitting a pull request, but he's not sure if it's necessary.
That is a good. Yeah, that is a good question. Yeah, we'd accept a pull request for that. With that in mind, it might make sense to structure that in such a way that those translation functions get moved into some kind of core, some core helper, and then they can be used in both the content block and in the text area attribute.
All right, looking for a couple more questions here. Let's see. There's a lot of stuff to parse going on in the chat here, so
It's excitement.
There's a store on Burnside called Meat. Sells dog food, raw meat for pets. If you don't know about the barf diet, it's pretty cool. That's where I got this shirt.
Oh, is this in?
I see a emerging thread about the awesomeness of my art.
It is
shirt.
a pretty sweet.
It's pretty sweet. Yeah.
Sweet meat.
Much love to all the vegans, yo. You taste good too. Well, okie dokie.
yeah, I'm not seeing any other questions pop out to me here. If I missed one, feel free to post it again real quick. But I think we're wrapping up.
We're wrapping it up.
Cool.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah, so everyone, beat up 561.
Beat it up.
We've got a bug report forum for it. I'm going to be monitoring it pretty aggressively over the next, for the next little while, even more so than normal, in preparation for a quick ePoint release and then release to the auto updaters.
Nice. I am Matt Waters. Matt Waters is a figment of my imagination. I throw my voice over there when I read the questions. That's how that works. Okay, guys. It's been real. It's been totally random. See you soon.
Fridays at 10 a.m. Pacific Time.